Do you take her to be your wife, to live together in the holy bond of married life? Do you promise to honor and to uphold her, and to join with her in making a home that shall endure in love and peace? Do you affirm your purpose of a deeper union with her, whereby you both shall know joy and the fulfillment of love? Do you pledge to her your complete faithfulness through all the changing experiences of life? And do you now give yourself to her completely, body, mind, and soul, that from this day forth you shall be hers alone, so long as you both shall live? Something like those words would have been spoken at the wedding in Cana. Now, weddings have changed much over the centuries in style and fashion. They're always changing in style and fashion. But always, at its center, the couple makes some sort of promise to each other, vows before God. And get this, Jesus was there listening. Jesus was attending this wedding in Cana and the reception afterwards. Now, he wasn't officiating. The other Gospels say he was a rabbi. He could have been officiating, but he was attending and attending to as this couple made their promises. In that moment of hope for the future, how would this life be for this couple? I think John chapter 2 is a hologram. Let me explain. You know, a hologram, this three-dimensional image created by light interference from like a laser, 3 dimensions. But the thing about a hologram is, even if you take one little piece of it, one tiny piece of it, shine a laser, you can recreate the entire image. So I think John chapter 2 is only a small piece of the gospel, but if we shine the laser light of our attention upon it, the entire gospel in 3 dimensions presents itself to us. Actually, every single moment in Jesus' ministry is a hologram. At every moment, if you shine the light of faithful attention upon it, you will see the entire gospel in 3 dimensions present itself: the love, the compassion, the justice. John chapter 2 is a hologram. So, let's put the laser of our attention upon it. Jesus and his disciples are attending a wedding. The wine gives out. Dangerous moment for a party. They run out of wine. Catastrophic, actually. But Jesus' mother is there. Notice she's not called Mary in the Gospel of John. She's the mother of Jesus. And she notices this, calls upon Jesus, and Jesus says to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." For all time, the church has been concerned. He sounds a little tart right here. He sounds a little short with his mother. For all time, we've been concerned about that, but there's no need for concern. First, the tone here is throughout the entire gospel. Jesus speaks in the Gospel of John with an authoritative voice. It's a rarefied, exalted manner of speaking, because in the Gospel of John, he is in essence the divine voice speaking. It's not being short with his mother. It's the voice of authority. And you know he's not being short with his mother, because Mary only appears twice in this gospel. Here at the wedding in Cana, And do you remember the one other time she appears in the Gospel of John? At the cross. And we know Jesus was not being short, because you witness a type of love and caring that is heartbreaking. As he dies, he looks upon his mother standing there and then says to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And then he says to her, "Behold your son," caring to her for her future to his last breath. And the gospel says from that moment on, that disciple took Mary into his own home and cared for her. He's not being short here with his mother. So she calls upon him, and he does one of the greatest miracles in the Gospels. Here we see him turn water into wine. Now, don't go all Doctor Strange, Marvel Comics, superpower stuff on this. I mean, yeah, he's got superpowers, cool. But notice there's always something deeper to the miracles that Jesus performs. A deeper meaning. Yeah, the guy's got game, right? He's got superpowers. But he's always using his miracles to either bring people together or provide them what they need, to give them the fullness of life, some hope for the future. Look at his miracles. Number one, they're basically about providing people enough. A human being needs enough, like enough food. So he'll perform miracles of multiplying the fish or multiplying the loaves and fishes. Or here, multiplying sustenance and joy, the wine. Look at his healing miracles. They're not just some superpower to cure a disease. They're about bringing people, restoring people to community. Like when a leper has leprosy, they're ostracized. But he will heal the leprosy, and they are welcomed back into community. When the blind can't see, it's not that they just can't see. They feel disconnected from community. He restores that. And look at this miracle. This miracle is to help make sure that festivity can continue. He's in a party. This whole miracle is about allowing the party to continue. Festivity and joy. One of the greatest Bible scholars of my generation was John Dominic Crossan, an Irish priest. And he believed that the Gospels set up a clear distinction between John the Baptist and Jesus. That John the Baptist was a religious ascetic, strict disciplines, living in the desert, fasting. Do you remember what he ate? Only locusts and honey. Fasting, religious disciplines. That Jesus is a very different image. Jesus has come to feast with us, to share in abundance and joy. Festivity. This miracle is making sure festivity can continue. These last 2 years of the pandemic, what has been so sad for me is how it has robbed churches of festivity. First-Plymouth Church, if it's ever about anything, it's about joy and festivity with all our concerts and music and worship services and events and lectures and gatherings. It's festivity, and it's as if this virus honed in right on that. But my friends, get ready for a miracle by Jesus. In some way beyond our imaginations right now, He'll make sure our festivity will continue. Oh, these miracles that make sure there is a fullness of life and joy. Saint Irenaeus, one of the great church fathers, a second-century Greek bishop, Saint Irenaeus said this: "The glory of God is the human being fully alive. The glory of God is the human being fully alive. And Jesus' ministry is to make us be fully alive, to live. He was fully alive. The divine shone forth from him, the glory of God. This text, how does it end? It says it reveals his glory. This miracle reveals his glory, which is the human being fully alive. He makes sure there is abundance and full life around him. You recognize this. You know it as Spock, who would greet people with, "Live long and prosper." But do you know where this came from? Leonard Nimoy was an Orthodox Jew in New York City. And when he was a boy, he remembers it vividly, when he was a boy, he saw during the High Holy Days the rabbi come to the center and extend his hand in precisely this way. It's an Orthodox blessing that people might live full lives. And it's rendered as a shape of a Hebrew letter, actually. He remembered that forever. And then there came one of the opening scenes in the Star Trek series where he, as a Vulcan, had to greet another Vulcan, and he stopped the scene and he turned to the director and said, there should be some gesture that we greet one another, like a Hindu will say namaste. We should have some greeting. And Leonard Nimoy suggested this because he remembered it from his shul, that Orthodox synagogue. And now it's become a pop icon, and a beautiful one. Live long and prosper. Jesus wants our lives to be full, festive, joyful. I imagine maybe at the end of this wedding in Cana, that hand was extended as a blessing. You see, in a wedding, there is this palpable sense that a couple is about to begin their lives together. The road lays out before them. How will it go? There is this vivid sense at a wedding, this hope and expectation for their future. I know that because I've performed about 800 weddings. And sure, it's a celebration of the love, and it's all a party, but I can feel it in the room. When everyone is surrounding this couple, they are praying this blessing upon them that life would go well for them, that life will be meaningful and full. I feel it in a wedding, but it's not just weddings. Weddings, baptism, in baptisms. I just performed my 1,000th baptism at First-Plymouth last summer. With weddings, baptisms, funerals, I've been in those moments some 3,000 times. And there's this same vivid expectation for the future. That in a baptism, like when we were celebrating Scarlett today, yes, we're celebrating this moment, but you see a road open up. How will this life be for Scarlett? There's this hope that it might be full. Lindsay and Brent told me I could say this, that this is a miracle. Scarlett was IVF, and they struggled for years to be able to have another baby. And they wanted me to say that because of their compassion for all the others that struggle. This is a silent struggle with people not able to have a baby they desire, and that is a deep pain. But then miracles take place. Jesus was at the wedding in Cana. I think Jesus was here too. And Scarlett comes forth. But in weddings, baptisms, and funerals, you're in the present, but you're oriented towards the future. In a baptism, we're with the child, but we're imagining and praying their life might be full. And in a funeral, of course, you think it's about the past mostly or about the grief in the moment. But in a funeral, there's that same radical hope that life is not over for this person. That God's love is stronger than death, that somehow beyond our imagination, that soul has now journeyed forward, and we hope the best for them. These have been difficult times. Imagine when a room fills with people, all the struggles we are in right now, individually, collectively. And so at this moment in Cana, when Jesus makes sure that fullness and festivity continues, I want you to remember Jeremiah 29. Remember that God says, I have plans for you, to prosper you and to not harm you, to give you hope and a better future. Remember Ephesians, where it says, I pray that the eyes of your heart might be enlightened and you might see the hope, the treasured inheritance you have received, the future. My friends, God will prosper you.